So as you're gathering your supplies, today we're going to use a bit of, could you give me a new piece of paper? Heavy paper like watercolor, or if you've got mixed media, or if you just have plain paper, that's okay too. Thank you, Jilly. I just wanted, my paper was still covered in, it's fine, whatever piece. And was still covered in pastel from the other day. So I've got a big piece of white paper. I actually like these in bigger ones, but today I'm going to work small. I have got, you might have a pencil. And then I have got some acrylics today. I'm using just a palette paper pad. I've got a red, a blue, and a yellow, and a white. And those would be great for today. We're going to be just working with those, mostly blues. And hello, Elle. It's Aunt Lara. Hello. And some red and yellow. If you have other colors, things that might work really well would be like magenta or orange. Because you'll see why in just a little bit. And then you could have some I'm going to give Jilly a choice. So we're going to you can either use some colored pencil, or I've got a few markers in like greenish blues and magenta, or you could even use crayons or some oil pastels. And you'll see why in a minute. So we are going to talk about another artist, red, brown, and white. Well, you can definitely use the red. You could do a warm one with reds and, do you have any blue, Elle? Or even yellow? Or you could do this in watercolor too. If you've got watercolors, you could do that, or you could just watch. And then I have a video earlier that I showed last week how to make watercolors at home from food coloring. So just use what you have, or you don't even have to paint. You could do this with markers or pencils or oil pastels. Like I said, just use what you've got, and you could always watch it and then replay it and catch up, okay? So today we are going to talk about an artist, and his name is Ted Harrison, and he is an artist from the 1900s, so a little more current with us. And he was from a country that borders ours. So he was from, I actually got a little map here. So he was from a country that borders ours. Could you go up and get slide those comments off? So what are the countries that border our country? Most of us here live in the USA. To the right. There we go. And he was from a place called the Yukon. Does anybody know where the Yukon is? Jilly, do you know where the Yukon is?
Isn't it like from Black Panther or something?
No, that's a movie. Like the area, the geography. Think of geography. Where's the Yukon? Does anybody know where the Yukon is?
I don't know.
It is up here. It's in the northern part of Canada. And so that gives us some hints about what he was inspired by. There's lots of mountains, and there's something fantastic, a magical thing that happens in the sky when you live in the northern part of the world. What is that called? Let's see. I'm going to give you an inspiration photo. And this is from in the Yukon. Look at all those beautiful colors. Hi, Miss Kathy. So we're talking about an artist named Ted Harrison from the Yukon up in Canada. And here's a photograph from the Yukon. And so you notice all these beautiful colors in the sky. And here it's even got some water. It's got some beautiful reflections going on. So you've got some mountains in the background and some trees that are silhouetted. So those are this is the scene that he would have been very inspired by up in Canada. So lots of blues and reds and oranges are colors that he would have been seeing on a daily basis in the Yukon. And he loved Canada.
Kelly Smith says Northern Lights and Aurora Borealis.
Yes, so thank you, Kelly. So you're right, the Northern Lights is what that magical show is in the sky up in the Yukon. Aurora Borealis. Oh, they're getting to go. Miss Kathy's going there. I am envious. So, let me see, I have a picture here of him. So here's a picture of him. He is no longer alive, but here is a picture of him. You can see he's sitting outside. You can see the trees in the background, the mountains, and then here is a beautiful piece of his artwork. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of his artwork, but you can see that he's even got some whales in here because that would have been something that was super important to the people there. And then, oh, I love this one. So you can see how the way he uses these colors and lines. So you've got all the silhouettes of the mountains, and the way he swirls his lines and his shapes makes you feel like there's this dance happening in the sky. It's super amazing. And so some things we can tell from his art. We're going to look at some more. He loved simple shapes, simple lines, but he used those things to make a beautiful piece of art and really speaks to you and makes you feel what he feels on a daily basis and would sing. So here he is also with a piece from his collection. Let's see what else we've got here.
Kathy says it's a beautiful country there for sure.
Yes, okay. And so sometimes you can see that he would incorporate some of the wildlife into his artwork. Right there you've got
a little moose.
A moose and a fox. But notice how he still just uses the simple shapes. They're what would be called a silhouette. It's the shape with some lines surrounding it. But we still know what he's talking about. And here are some of he's trying to represent the native people up there. The horses running. Oh, here's one with a bear. So, as we do our artwork, oh, I like this one too. Here's a fun one.
And his name is Ted Harrison.
Oh, yes. Ted Harrison. And I will post a link to his website later today, hopefully. As you know, I got a little bit sidetracked the other day about posting George's. Sorry. Once I get off, I'm trying to get the kids settled and things like that. So, what we need to do first is do a basic line drawing of our landscape. And what I mean by that is something like this. See, this one has some simple bird shapes. It's got the sun. You can see the different parts. So the different parts of a landscape would be far away up in here, which would have the silhouette of the mountains. Then you get a little closer, which is called the near section. And then you get to this closest section, which is here. And so typically the more detailed pieces would be down here. Like in his pieces, that would have been where the bear hung out, maybe the moose or the fox if you're going to want to incorporate an animal. And then this one, I don't know what happened to all my, I had some samples. I did this lesson, I've done this lesson a few different ways with my adult classes as well as my kid classes. I've done it in watercolor. I have done it in acrylic, so it's really just a fun lesson. So you can see this one is it's got these swirls in the sky, and it's gonna take advantage of that movement up there. And that's something that's super important when you are trying to kind of do a piece that's inspired by him. Making line work in the sky, because that was something that he saw on a daily basis, and that was something that was very inspiring to him. And so what we can do is, if you would like, you can do these lines in pencil. I would recommend going ahead and doing the lines in marker, which is what I will do, or crayon or oil pastel, and you'll see why. The reason, I'll show you on his photos, something that he did in his landscapes. If you look really closely where those lines are, I don't know if you can see that well. See how there's a pink line rimming that light purple mountain, and how the yellow part of the sky is lined in the pink, and then the closer lower mountains are lined. The orange one has some navy. See that? That was something that was very trademark of his work. His shapes had a line to separate them from each other. Not the animals, just the landscape lines. Here is, see it on this whale piece here? I really love that one. He used the water as his here part, the here. So we've got, here, near, and far. Here, near, and far. I know, it's backwards. I have it on mirror image, so I'm learning how to point at it. Anyway, so that's why I would encourage you doing your lines in those types of colors. So I actually am gonna do mine in marker. I just have some of these Crayola, and the tops are flying across, and I'm gonna actually make sure they work first, which this green doesn't. My purple, fuchsia, can you get me like a, yeah, well actually this lime green will work. Okay, so the first thing, maybe I will put this here for you so you can see a nice, simple, actually let's do this one, landscape. Does that work? Landscape line. And I will do it up here. So what I'm gonna do is, in my sky, I'm gonna use some colors that are a little bit contrasting to the colors I might use in my sky, which would be like the oranges and the pinks and the reds. But we first need to do our middle. In every landscape, there's what's called a horizon line. And the horizon line is where the land meets the sky. So I'm gonna do that with this lime green here. Or maybe let's get some royal blue going here. So I'll do this same one here and how I would do it. It's okay. I'm always a mess in art. So I want to do my landscape. I'm going to do this water line here. See that? And I'm going ahead and doing it in my pen, because also remember, we're going to paint over it. So it will cover up any lines that you don't want later. And then maybe I'll come up here with that rock, which would be some land that would be more like here. Okay? And then,
I meant to do that.
oh, it's okay. Just wipe it off with your paper towel. She just dunked her paper in my paint.
That's happened so many times.
Okay. All right. So then we are going to, I'm going to come in here, and I'm actually going to use pink down in my water for my lines. And so I know they'll be nice, and I'm just doing one line. Then I'm going to come down here and do another line. Give a little bit of motion for the water, but I'm still attaching that line to either side. And that's because typically water doesn't swirl in the middle like the sky would. Okay? Now let's move to this middle part, which is the near part around our horizon line. And I'm going to, let's see, what color do I want to do? This is totally unplanned. That's how we roll, huh? All right, so I'm gonna pull out this turquoise and do one. And I'm just gonna kind of come and do that first. That mountain range that's a little bit closer to us. So I've got my first mountain range. Okay.
Bluish color over there.
Oh. I don't have a blue. Oh, I put the wrong cap on the pen, which is one of my pet peeves. But that's okay. All right. And then I'm going to move up in here into the darker mountains, the ones that are further away. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to change to a different blue, just for variety. Then
dark magenta.
Julie's going in for the magenta. And then maybe I'm going to use this lime green for this one in the background because I'm thinking, hey, maybe it would have a little bit of a glow from that show that happens in the sky. Okay? So here's where we are so far. Just my simple lines for my landscape. See that? And then I need to do my sun. How do you think we should do our sun to help it pop?
Do it like in between mountains.
Oh, Miss Trina's here.
Yellowish.
Hello, Jennifer. Oh, welcome, Robin. All right. And then let's do the sun. And I'm going to grab an orange. I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to do it just a simple circle up there for my sun. See that? And then if you wanted, on here it's got some birds sketched in the sky. You could put maybe some creatures swimming in your water, or use your imagination. Maybe there's a bear on this right here, and you could do that in any color. Probably a silhouette, and you could even use your pencil or black. He didn't always do his animals in a bright color surrounding them. Okay, so this is where we're at. Doing our line. If you want to do some shapes in the sky, I'm going to go ahead and use go back to my magenta. And you could really have fun with this, like maybe some swirls off the sun, giving it that fun, awesome motion that the aurora borealis would make. And what we're basically doing is putting in these shapes and lines so that we can fill in the spaces later with paint. And we're going to actually let those lines show through by being careful with our painting. So this is a great project for practicing your painting technique and trying to be careful and stay in the lines. So as you're collecting your paints, you can see I definitely have a big thing of white. And that's going to be important because if you remember looking at his artwork, they were all very opaque, which might be a little bit hard to do with watercolor because it doesn't have that same opaque tendency. It'll be a little bit more transparent, more see-through. And that's one great thing about acrylic, and that's why I have the white, because sometimes you can tell the difference is if I pick up a little bit of just red,
May I have the orange, please?
you can see that's more transparent. But if I put just a touch of white in there, just even a touch, it makes it much more opaque. I know it's kind of hard to see on here, but yeah. So we're gonna be, and also you'll notice that he, when he painted his spots, they weren't all the same blue. He did different values of those same colors. And so if he had blue, he maybe would have 3 or 4 different values of those colors, not just one solid color. So when you do values, he's got these darker hues of the red up here in the sky, and then he's gradually adding white to make it a little bit more of a tint. And over here he's even got some orange, so he touched in there with a little bit of yellow. So, and then even these blues, see there's different hues of them. So when you talk about a hue of a color, those are a little bit slightly variation in color. So maybe red, and then you get a little orange in it, or and then maybe even a little more yellow, and you've got different hues. But when you talk about value, you've got your red right here, and then as I change its value, I add more and more white as I go along. See that? So value is how much of a tint. A tint is adding more white to it. So those are different values of red. And then if I wanted different hues, here I'm going to add a little yellow to it. This one might have more yellow. And then maybe I've even got some white in that color. Some definite yellow over here. So here I've got and white's also a great way to tell. So here I've got different hues of red. See, I've got some red, some yellow orange, some yellow, some regular orange. So those are different hues. Value is how light or dark a color is. Hue is just a little bit of a variety in the color of it. Kind of working in those analogous colors that we've been talking about a little bit. Are you ready? Oh, what are you doing over there?
I didn't like these 2 lines.
Okay.
So,
how's everybody doing out there? Elle, this will probably be another half an hour or so, but that's okay. You can, it'll be on replay on Facebook. So even when your paints come in, your mom said she ordered you some paints, right, Elle? This is my my brother's. So you could replay it. It's going to be up on my Facebook page and also on YouTube. So you don't have to do it right now, Elle. You can go ahead and do your appointment and then come back when you have your supplies ready, okay? All right. It'll be up there for a very long time, Elle. Okay, so now, has everybody got their basics of their landscape drawn out with their colors? Whether you used marker, you could even use color pencil, or maybe you used crayon or oil pastel. Give me some thumbs ups or hearts. Let me know you have caught up so we can get to the painting. How you doing over here, Jilly? Do you want to just do a new piece of paper?
Well, I like this bottom part.
You could redo that really quick.
Yeah.
Just, you have paper over there. Oh, here we got lots of hearts, awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so we're gonna get ready to paint now. So do you have get your palette ready if you don't have that. You have your little cup of water. Paintbrush, I'm gonna use my round brush. It's, I don't even know what number this is. It's probably like an 8 or so, but you know, use what you've got. Oh, it's a 10. So I've got that. You could use a flat brush. It's just going to be harder to get into those nooks and crannies. Maybe you have a little one. That might be nice for these smaller pieces. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out up here. Actually, I'm going to start out with my down here with the water. And so something I'm going to want to do is think about in a landscape. So we're just going to be filling in these shapes. So when you look at a landscape of a photograph of water, or maybe you're standing on the beach, the water is darker the further away from you it is, where it touches this line between the mountains and the water. So I'm going to put my darkest value of blue in here, and then a medium value, and then my lightest value is going to be really close. So I'm going to dip into my blue, and because I want to make sure that it's super opaque, I am going to put in a little bit of this white. And I am, this time, going to mix on my palette because he had solid, smooth colors in his shapes. Okay?
Is it on the wrong side?
It's okay. That paper doesn't matter so much. She's making all kinds of happy accidents over here, and she's just laughing about it, which I love. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and do this. This is going to be my darkest color. See that? And I'm going to be careful as I come through. I wish I had my artboard, but it's over at the museum. So I am going to be careful and go very carefully. See how I'm being careful close to this line? I don't want to cover up that marker because I want that marker to show through. So the first thing I'm going to do is come along with my brush, and using my best craftsmanship, I'm going to carefully line the edge. What?
It's low battery.
Oh. Noah?
Yeah.
Could you hook us up with a plug-in for the computer so we can read comments, please? So I'm going to be careful coming all along here. Because I want those lines that I did to show through. So see that? That looks cool already. And then I'm going to come across the top and do the same thing. And even though the blue I have for my line up there is slightly different, I still want to see it on my finished piece. You might need an extension cord. So see how I'm being very careful, and you'll see it more as we go along, that we want those lines to stay. And parents, this is more of an older kid project. So if you find that your little one is frustrated with this, just let them do what they want to do. Because this is a little bit more technical of a painting and drawing project. Even though the end result has simple shapes and lines, it could be frustrating for our little guys. So the important part of that with the little ones is just letting them use the supplies, exposing them to the artist, letting them look at the colors, play with the colors. It's more about the process for them. So let's not get caught up in the end result for the little people. Okay? I wanted to do a project that was, you know, a little bit more for the older kids. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to, once you've got that edges done, those edges done, you can come in here and fill in this space. Okay?
Thank you, Baba.
Because it's a smooth, solid shape of the same color. So I'll have my first shape filled in. And I can already tell, so it's drying a little bit. So you know, if you've worked with acrylics before, they will slightly dry a slightly different value of what they are. So see how smooth that is? And now I'm gonna come in, and I don't know why I washed my brush. I didn't need to do that. I'm gonna come in and make a little bit lighter value, adding more white to that blue.
My son.
Hmm?
I said I forgot my son.
Well, hello, Kelly. Hi, Dana. How are you guys doing? So I need to make sure it's a value that's noticeably lighter. Thank you, Noah.
Welcome.
Noah's just plugged us in so I can read your comments on the computer. And I can test it out, and if I feel like that's not, a big enough change, I can just pick up more white and put it next to it. Sometimes I get excited and add too much of the one color. So, now let's see, try this one. Okay, so then I've got this lighter hue here, lighter value. I'm going to come in and I'm going to be really careful on this other side so that we can see that pink. And this is really going to tell you now, show you what you're wanting. So see how I'm going and see how that pink is popping through? Isn't that cool? So. And if you feel like sometimes a bigger brush makes it harder, maybe you use a smaller brush to do this little detail work, and then you could fill in the shapes with a smaller brush.
You mean a bigger brush?
Oh, bigger brush. Yes, thank you.
Kissy says
So
hi.
hello, Kissy. I think what my plan is from now on, I'm gonna go live on. Now that my family is somewhat settling into this our new routine, I'm going to do Tuesday, Thursdays as my free live class. That just seems the most doable for me. Just getting my kids' stuff done, and then my other work stuff, which a lot of it is canceled, but I'm trying to catch up on all that online stuff that I'm somewhat always behind on. As small business owners that are a one-person show understand. Okay, so see how that pink is popping through? And it's not perfect. There was a couple places that I probably could have left it whiter, but that's okay. All right, and then now I need my lightest hue up front. And so what I'm actually gonna do now, instead of mixing even more colors, my blue is dirty on my brush. I am just gonna come in here and dip in some fresh white. And that blue is going to incorporate with that fresh white and make me that lightest tint. Oops. And I might even need more white. So if that happens to you, I just use my table covering or your napkin to paint out some of that blue and then come in here with that white. Is everybody painting along, or are you watching and going to do a replay? I'm curious how this is working out for everybody. Hello, Missy. How are all my little goat friends out there? My friend Missy has a gorgeous ranch here in the Vacaville Hills Mountains and all these beautiful goats. So if you're just now popping on, we are looking at the artwork of Canadian artist Ted Harrison and his work that he did. He lived up in the Yukon, was very inspired by the scenery there. So see how I've got those three values of blue, but that pink is showing through the pink line? That's how it's going to work for the whole piece. And so now that I'm gonna, I've got my water all done. I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with this rock right here. What color are we gonna do that rock?
do like a pink color.
A pink color?
Because it's going to be more pink in the sky.
That's true. That's a good idea. Variety. I like it. She's using her art words. So I'm thinking, yeah, Jilly suggested for this piece here to do something more in the magenta pink range, because knowing that I probably was going to put some pinks and oranges up in the sky, that would give us some variety, but also balance. So we'd have red and orange up here, and then down here. Caleb and Eliana are painting along. I know! My friend has so many goats, Aunt Lara. They're adorable. And they're so sweet. My friend Missy is amazing. She rescues, and they're all rescues. She's got a couple cows and gazillions of goats and chickens, and she gets them all as rescues and then just loves on them, and it's amazing. I love it. And her property is stunningly beautiful. One day we're going to be having a paint along up there or something. Doing something up there. All right. So I'm going to take Jilly's idea and I'm going to bring some of this red over here. And red alone tends to be pretty transparent. So I'm going to add some white to it and see what kind of a color I've got. And depending on, you know, here's what happens with red.
Oh gosh.
What?
It's like spazzing out.
Just X out that, yeah. So depending on what red you have, red is one of those colors that if you have a warmer red, you're going to get those softer mauve-y pinks when you mix with it. If you have a cooler red, like maybe a crimson or like a deep magenta, then that's where you're going to get your vibrant pinks and purples. So just know that if you are one of those people that just loves your pink and you want it to be super vibrant, then your red may affect that a little bit, but that's okay. That's just a little bit of quick color theory here. So I'm going to come in and do I want it to be a little darker now that I'm on here. There we go. I'm going to carefully follow my line for my rock here. Aunt Lara, you need some goats. You guys have property there in Colorado. So my brother and his wife live in Colorado, in Durango area. And they live out in the country. My brother probably wouldn't go for it, but my sister-in-law would. They have really pretty property there in Colorado. And then you wouldn't have to like ever, well, I guess you probably, Colorado doesn't get real weedy like here because the ground is just different. But all right, there we go. Little rocky edge. Huh? It's not a race. I remember Mommy paints a lot. Jilly was getting frustrated because she said she's taking too long, and that's not true. Everybody works at a different pace, and remember, I paint and teach all the time. And so I'm a fast painter. But it's not a race. And that's what the replay is so amazing for. So you can take your time, hit that pause button, take advantage of that. This is just for me to teach it to you. And even now, if you're painting along and you are not caught up, that's okay. You can just kind of start watching or just listen and keep going carefully with whatever you're working on. And then after I'm done, you can hit replay or rewind to where you want to work, okay? So, I am going to clean out my brush a little bit because I want to do a little bit different in my mountains because I want people to know they're mountains and they're not water. So I want to make a slightly different hue of blue. Maybe I'll even go, I think I'm going to go purpley Because if you ever, that's what that, the song Purple Mountains Majesties, because when you look at a landscape and the further away the mountains are, the more soft purple they are. So I'm going to do my mountains starting right in here with a darker purple and then move back. So my red here is a bit of a warm red, and then so it'll just not give me that like bubblegum grape red. So I'm going to mix that up, and so you can see that purple. Purple is a super dark color. It's a great substitution for black, but I want to see where I'm at with that. So I am going to add a little bit of white to it so that it's opaque, and because also his style wouldn't have had a super, super dark color. So because my red is a warmer red, sorry, see that purple? It's going to be a little bit different of a purple. Jilly, I think what's happening is we just flipped over to Netflix because the bumping,
That didn't happen.
Here we go. The bumping of the table is causing my computer to do some goofy stuff. Anyway. Oh, now our comments are we're having a technological event. Oh, Auntie Kim's on here. And Grace Abate.
Hello.
Okay, so here I've got my dark purple. I'm going to do the same thing. Coming in, being careful of these lines. Those just joining us, we are talking about who, Jilly?
Ted Hafer?
Ted Harrison.
Sorry, I forgot.
Say it out loud so you remember. Ted Harrison. Everybody say that. And he is from where?
Uganda? I'm sorry.
We are adding geography tomorrow to our list. Canada, even Noah says Canada. Canada, and specifically the Yukon, which is the northern part of Canada.
I was close. I said Uganda.
She blended Yukon and Canada, so. Oh, hi, Ken. We'll see you later. You can watch the replay.
No, it's best.
It was good to see you for a sec, Kim. All right, I'm just working that purple in. Here we go. So what kinds of things is everybody doing to keep their family active?
Yard work.
Jilly says yard work. We are getting lots of yard work done. Today is the day we are going to build our vegetable planters, because we, as many know, we had a big accident in our house where a car crashed into our property and took out how many vegetable beds did I have? 6, 7, 8, 9 big vegetable beds, all of them. So finally all the contract work on the house and the yard's finished, and so we are doing that section of our yard, building some more planters, trying to reestablish our vegetable garden that we had.
And Robin says walking the dog, reorganizing the house. And then Dana says tetherball and bike race.
Ooh, tetherball. I wasn't a tetherball. I used to do that. I used to sign up for all the tournaments at camp when I was a kid. We actually have a tetherball. Well, we have the stand. We need a new ball.
I wonder why.
Because...
No, do you want to look out? Because no one likes to hit it with a stick.
Yeah. Anyway.
Where's Dad?
Excuse my... All right, so here we go. I've got my first purple coming in. Ooh, I love it. See how that blue line pops between the water and the mountain? So now I'm going to go lighter in my purple. Bring some white over here.
Oh,
A
that
lighter...
turquoise color looks good with the purple.
Doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Wait till I put that lighter purple in here.
Well, I'm still working on the water.
That's okay. Here I go. So a lot of this is just careful painting. So also another idea, families, is that if this could get a little tedious, so just letting your kids take a break and pause, especially the younger they are. I find it very relaxing to do painting like this, but some kids, depending on their personality and just their age, they might find this, you don't want them to get frustrated when they're doing a project, because then you don't want them to not like art. So just letting them take their time, using that pause button, maybe doing a little bit every day. If I was in a class setting, this project, probably would take 2 classes or so, just because we would draw, we would start doing some of the painting and talking about the artist and stuff, but I wouldn't be doing this all in one sitting. Even with my older elementary kids, it's just, it's a lot. Ooh, I love that. Look at that blue that pops through with that background. So that's what we're talking about. Now we're talking. So now I need to come in with my lightest hue that's going to touch the sky. Although I have this other mountain here too, but that's okay. I think what I'm going to do with that is make it light blue. Kind of bring some of that water up.
Oh my
gosh. Excuse them. Can you go see what the problem is?
I mean, the guys just
That's Rugby, and he's very sad right now. So he's having a temper tantrum, and I believe because he can see my husband out the front door, so out the front window. He's a big baby.
Hey, Papa.
Oh. Dana, I was like the tetherball champion. Tetherball was my favorite. So the camp I used to go to when I was a little girl, up all through elementary. Shut the gate, please, or put them out in the backyard. Why is Aslan out there? Thanks, Zeke. Our friends are walking out front with their dogs. And that is why Rugby is so upset. You're gonna have to trick him. And Rugby loves Aslan.
Okay, I saved Dad's computer
There we go.
from the wrath of Rugby.
Peace. Sorry about that little Rugby drama. And Piper, she was running around too.
Rugby just saw his best friend.
His best friend just walked by, and Zeke, so that is your brother out there?
Yeah. They're talking about video games.
With social distancing, of course.
Actually, no, they're pretty close.
It's hard to tell when you're inside. All right. Yeah, Dana, I have been having a little trouble with my internet today too, with my live. I noticed, because I'm talking to you up here, but then I'm watching on my my laptop so we can see the comments, and it's a bit spotty today. I think that's just part of more people are using technology right now, and so that's all I know. That's about as technologically detailed as this brain can get. Okay, so
finished my water.
Who said that? Oh, Jennifer. Yes, I love this too. I could do these all day. These would be like even little ones, little pieces like this. You could do this idea with anything, honestly. Like
crayons and stuff.
Yeah, you could do it with coloring, but I mean, like if you like this, you could do flowers this way. You could make little cards. It's a very relaxing way to paint. Okay, so I've got my 3 values of my mountains. See that? Woo! And then I forgot I drew this little mountain back here, this one. But that's okay. I'm actually going to do it in a very light blue because that kind of is representing mountains being far away. And that will also tie in my blue from down there to up here to give me a little balance. Then I'm going to move into my sky. So for us, for exercising, we have been, well, my oldest, many know, plays, she's a soccer player, and she travels a lot normally, and has a pretty, she works out a lot with her soccer team. And so right now, of course, they're not meeting, but her coach has been giving them these workouts to do every day. And so my husband has been doing those along with her, as well as Noah, my son, because my son usually does ninja gym, a ninja warrior gym, but they're close too. So the 3 of them have been doing that. Sometimes Jilly joins in. I do not join in. I don't join into that craziness. I take a long walk. Some days I'm better than others, you know. I have had my bad days and my good days. And then I'm a big, I go to a Pilates gym, and that's my favorite thing to do. And so I try, you know, to do like a Pilates video or a bar video. I can't do all the impact stuff, so.
We did bar yesterday.
Yes, Jilly joined me in on bar yesterday. Jilly goes to gymnastics, and so her coaches have also been very good about sending workouts every day, so she kind of does those too. So just trying to stay busy, and then one of their lists is to help in the yard for a certain amount of time. So that's where the older ones just went out to help their dad with whatever yard activity. So there we go.
They're building.
I'm ready for the sky. You can see I got some paint over here. That's okay. I'm going to be using acrylics. Now it's totally dry, so go right over it. Now I'm going to go in with some of those reds and oranges. I think those will be super pretty. Kind of, you using my paper towel too?
Yeah, because mine's covered in paint.
Okay, mine too. I have to get a new one. All right, so, but I want it to have a little white in it. So I'm going to make a red that's not so
Red?
Plain and red. I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow to it. See where I'm at? A little bit of yellow. I want it to be still pretty vibrant. So I'm going to, thank you, Kim. Oh, Jennifer says her Sydney does soccer. How's Sydney? Do I know Sydney? I know so many Sydneys. Anyway, soccer's a great sport. I am just, oh, did I want to do the red over here? See, now I'm distracted. That's okay. I'm going to do red over here. This red, I added a touch of yellow to it and a touch of white because red can be a very transparent color in paints all alone. So see? So it's like a deep reddish orange I'm going in for the sky. And then over here, I'm going to go lighter around the sun with these lighter pinks and orangey colors. But I'm going along my mountaintop first because I want to be careful, using my best craftsmanship.
Mine's like a blue and red. I mean, then a purple.
Well, that's because our red that we're using, the one I grabbed, is a warmer red, like we just talked about. So that's like, you know, if you have just the primary paints and you're struggling to make, if you really love those vibrant magentas and pinks, it's really hard to get those from a warm red. And that's just like learning how to play with colors. But those vibrant magentas and purples come from a more modern color wheel, which would have the cool blues and reds, whereas a more traditional wheel that we grew up learning was a bit on the warmer side. So, but this isn't a color theory class. This is just a let's look at some artists and have some fun. Color theory is fun too. I adore learning and teaching them. I mean, I can never stop playing with color. But I really love it, and it's super valuable as an artist to have a really good knowledge of color mixing. But so there we go. Ooh, look at that pop. That's just really cool. Are we getting any more? Is anybody commenting? How's everybody doing out there? Am I still on here? My computer's kind of... Let's see. I'm redoing it because I'm not sure how... Oh, I got some hearts. You're doing good.
I'm not loving this purple.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm still around. Oh, Robin's like exploding on the side of my page. Thank you, Robin. At least I'm at Robin's house. We'll see. Cool. All right. Oh, somebody hit the angry button. I hope that was an accident. I don't want anybody to be angry. If you're angry, you need to hit the pause button. No anger in art. That means we need a break. Because I have experienced that before. Okay, how are you doing, Jilly?
Not loving this purple, but I'm going to deal with it.
Good, just push through. And that's the same purple I got. She's not loving her purple. She must be she is a modern color wheel girl. She wants those vibrant...
I like it, I just wish it was like more
bright,
like purple.
Well,
like plummy.
Yeah, plummy, that's a good description. Plum, it's more of a plum purple. Okay, so now I'm about ready to move into this little part here, which I'm going to definitely lighten it up with a tint, adding white. And I'm also going to go in a little bit more of an orangey color. So I'm going to come over here, adding some white, some yellow. Ooh, I like that color.
Oh, it's like peachy orange. Pinky color. The corners are always the worst.
It's kind of getting, yeah, in this pink, peachy range. And you might want to pick up your little, if you are getting in, like me, into these smaller spots, feel free to grab one of those smaller brushes. And you might be on the home stretch here. I think Jilly's just taking her time because she doesn't want to do the yard.
No. I want it to look good.
She wants it to look good. No, I know it's the truth. I'm just teasing you. She has good craftsmanship. I'm going to bring this color over here. Has anybody done the color challenge that we talked about last week?
Oh, yeah.
On one of my videos, I talked about, you know, this is fun for adults just because we're talking about color theory a little bit here. Taking those 3 primaries as well as white and see if you can make 50 colors or more. Super good way to learn how your colors that you've got mix and what colors you can get. Okay? I think I'll come into more. I don't like mixing with these little brushes. Keep twirling it, get that paint off. Come in here with some pink. These spots are a little bit more delicate. All right, I'm almost
done.
It's okay, remember? I've done a lot of painting in my life. It is actually, we've had some rain the past few days, but today it is gorgeous and sunny out, so
I'm
I'm loving that.
Dad and Noah were talking about swimming yesterday.
Oh no. They can do a pool. It's still too cold. I am of the team of
80
the
degrees.
pool must be at least 84 degrees before I venture in there. I'm going to go even lighter.
I'm like, I can get in the pool at like 70, 75 degrees.
Ooh.
But then like I'll only be in there for like 30 minutes.
So here I go. Another lighter tint. How's everybody doing out there? We are on the home stretch.
Just gonna jump in and not worry about it.
All right. See, I've got these different colors going around the sun. I'm curious. I'm so excited to see what everybody else's versions are like. You want to show yours, your progress? I know you probably won't finish until after we're done, but we'll post pictures of her finished piece. Since your paper's kind of off screen. There's Jilly's. Pretty, huh? I love it. All right, so now I just have that sun. What am I gonna do it in? Maybe
Yellow, pink?
I'm gonna do yellow, but just a touch of this red. Just gonna give me a deep orange, deep yellow, red.
What's it called? Sunshine orange?
Sure.
I don't know.
You can name whatever color you want it to be called.
I just know a color that's like in between yellow and orange, and it's called like sunshine or something.
In a paint color? Or a color crayon?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Miss Christie's is done.
I am almost done. Kind of.
If you did your lines originally in crayon or even color pencil, you could, once this dries, go over those lines again if they're not quite so vibrant. Just because you know when you have that certain texture with oil pastels or crayon, you could go back over these lines that we painted over with the same color and make it more
Okay.
more noticeable, give it some emphasis. All right, how's everybody doing out there? So while you're finishing up or working, I'll just say one more thing. So a lot of you already know, but I am doing a free virtual paint-along night. Well, actually, depending on where you are, it's an afternoon one for me, on Saturday. And so that can be really for any ages, but it would be more like the little ones. You could totally let them do it. I'm all about letting people participate and doing it as a family, but it also is geared more towards the older, the adults and older kids, and we're going to be painting a wheelbarrow with flowers coming out of it. And if you are interested in doing that, head over on my Facebook page, and the little tab across the top, there's an events. And so you click on that event. There's the only one listed right now, and it says virtual paint party. And how that works, you go into that event and you do need to click on the ticket link. And so the reason is because I'm doing a private Facebook group for the live, since it'll be a couple hours long, and to give my locals an option to get supplies from me. But so you go to the events, click on virtual paint party wheelbarrow, go down to the ticket link, click on that. It'll take you over to my space, my website, and you can register. And go ahead and register. It'll be $0 You won't even have to add a credit card or anything like that, and register. And then what happens is in your email receipt, you will get a link for that private Facebook page. So you just go to that link, trek over to that private Facebook page and request to join. And once I receive your registration, I will approve you. And then inside that private Facebook link page is a supply list, a tracer, or a transfer, so that you could print that and have the drawing if you're not comfortable drawing. And then what will happen is when I do the class, I'll go live in that group 3 o'clock on Saturday Pacific time, because I'm in California. But if that time is not good for you, that's okay. So you can go ahead and sign up, and I will leave that live video up for 2 weeks inside that private group. So there's 2 benefits. One, if you can't come at the time of the party, you could do it another time within the 2 weeks. Or if I paint too fast, or you just want to continue to watch it and move more at your own pace, like you could watch it when I'm doing it and then take advantage of the pause button at a later time. All those things work out really well. Okay? Hi, Miss Nancy. We're just finishing up with our Ted Harrison project. So I'm going to be heading out in a second. But of course, I will share this project on my page, and I will also put a link to his website that they still keep current, because even though he is not alive anymore, he's still one of Canada's most popular artists, and so they keep that website current, and there's some fun stuff on there. And don't forget to also go on some of those virtual museum tours. There's some really great ones. Oh, I can't wait either Saturday. Oh, good. I'm glad you're liking it, Robin. Robin is my art friend. She comes to a lot of my classes locally, and she doesn't have kids, but she still sometimes comes to my kids' class, and she comes to my adult stuff, and she's super supportive of my little business, and I love that. Okay, do you have anything, Jilly, to say? She's very methodically doing her shapes and filling them in, so I will post her finished one. Don't forget to share with me. One of these days, when I have a little bit of time, I'm going to do a slideshow of all your artwork that you've been sharing with me. I love seeing all the results that you've gotten from these lessons, and I love the variety. Like, I love how resourceful you all are being with supplies if you don't have exactly what I'm using. Just taking the inspiration of the project and using what you've got. So thanks for that. Thanks for joining me. And for now, we're going to say bye.